Hey everybody, welcome to the newest episode of The Bearded Gamer Show. Now as always, I'm your host, of course, The Bearded Gamer, Chris Arnone. Okay, now it's time, of course, to talk comic books again, so let's start it off right with the pull list. So every week it happens, almost without fail. Wednesday is New Comic Book Day. See, I just find little reasons to celebrate every day of the week. I mean, Tuesdays you get new video games, Wednesdays you get new comic books. Okay, so at least 2 days a week. I get really excited. So let's recommend some new comic books for this week. First up is Batman Incorporated #1. Now, I'll be honest with you. I was not a huge fan of the whole Batman Incorporated concept. Now, the idea was, after Batman came sort of back to life / back from the dawn of time, you want me to explain all the continuity behind it. He came back, and he thought the vision for Batman was too small, because he came back, and Dick Grayson was now Batman. So they were both Batman, but he thought, wait a minute, there's an idea here. I could spread the idea of Batman, that sort of legend of Batman, all across the globe. And so he started traveling the world, finding men who he thought would live up to the cape and the cowl, men, women, and this whole Batman Incorporated thing came about. Well, with the New 52, the reboot that happened a while back, of course, everything got canceled pretty much that was in DC. Well, now they are bringing back Batman Incorporated. And I actually have high hopes for this, okay? It's Grant Morrison writing it once again. From a writer's standpoint, I do really enjoy Batman Incorporated because it allows the writer to play with sort of the themes of Batman, but maybe things that don't work with specifically Bruce Wayne or even Dick Grayson. So that really is a great vehicle for creativity. And so, I'm going to give this one a chance, and I'm inviting you to come and take that chance with me. If you like the first Batman Incorporated, you should be all about this. Grant Morrison on it. He's the same writer who did the last one. And, if you're a little skeptical, join me. Let's find out together. Let's see how good it is with issue #1 coming out this week. Okay, next up is Deadpool 55. Now, do you read Deadpool? Of course you do. If you don't, what is wrong with you? I mean, seriously, he's hilarious. It's a superhero who breaks the fourth wall all the time. He's just goofy, and I'm not talking about that weird Ryan Reynolds crap that was at the end of Wolverine Origins. No. I'm talking about the real Deadpool. He's a mutant. He regenerates. He's like a samurai. He's as good as breaking the fourth wall as he is at breaking people's heads. It's an awesome character. It's an awesome read. I think I used that word too many times. No more for this rest of this episode. But if you're reading other comics and they're all real serious and whatnot, definitely great to give Deadpool a shot. Get some comedy going in your flow. And issue 55 starts, of course, a new story arc, so it's a perfect time to jump in. Okay, next up is Hero Comics 2012. Now, if any of you are familiar with this, they've done this for a little while now. This entire comic book goes to help the Hero Initiative. Now, the Hero Initiative is a charity group that helps comic book artists and writers with health insurance, ongoing care, and whatnot. Because, the vast majority of them are all freelance, whether they're artists, they're writers. These sort of big superstars are much more rare than the ones who've just worked their whole lives doing freelance, and by the time they get done, they've got practically nothing to show for it. It's not always a glamorous, high-paying gig. And so this charity exists to help them in their times of need, to raise money to help with their healthcare needs and whatnot. So this whole book goes toward that initiative once again. Now, there's just an all-star cast of people working on this, a bunch of short stories all packed into one book. So some names on this one. You get Kevin Eastman, Chris Ryall, Ashley Wood, Richard Starkings, Dave Sim, and of course you see that beautiful J. Scott Campbell cover that they've got on there. Very, very hot cover. It's going to be awesome. So please go pick up that book. It goes for a great cause, and it should be a really fun read. Okay, final recommendation this time, okay? Mind Management #1. Now, it's actually Mind MGMT #1. Okay, that's management, but that's actually how it's spelled on the cover. I want to make sure you're looking for the right thing. Now, this is Matt Kindt, who he's one of these guys that I wish as a writer I could be as good as him one day. He's brilliant, and he's cerebral, and he writes things that are just so out of left field. You're like, how did he even form this concept? Where did this come from? And this is just another one of his great things. So it's this new espionage series where a young journalist is reporting on this flight where all the people on it, this commercial flight, have just randomly lost their memories. But this reporter starts to uncover something a lot deeper, this whole mind management thing. And there's one missing passenger, which is apparently this mind management. It's their greatest success and their greatest failure all at once. So it's just very strange. It's got a kind of, it's not cyberpunk, but it sort of gives me this cyberpunk taste to it just a little bit, with the sort of espionage and the crazy over-the-top uber science sort of weaponry and gadgetry that it's going to introduce. So definitely go check out Mind Management. That should be, I would imagine, a mini-series, or definitely it's going to have a beginning and an end. So go check that one out. Issue number 1 coming out this week. As always, Wednesday, New Comic Book Day. Head down to your local comic book store. This is an industry that needs your money. It needs your dollars, and it's going to provide you with some fantastic entertainment. So go support your local comic book store, support your local comic book guru, and get even more recommendations from them. They know comics like nobody. Okay, so enough about the books themselves. Let's head into some nerd TV. Now, of course, most of you know that they had been planning to make another Wolverine movie, which I don't know how I feel about that completely, considering what the last one was like, which was... But anyway, it has been confirmed by Hugh Jackman via Twitter that they're going to start filming in August. Now, let's talk some specifics on this one. Okay, it's going to be based on the 1982 Wolverine miniseries by Chris Claremont and Frank Miller. Two, huge names in the comic book industry. This was a great storyline. It's where Logan travels to Japan, he fights ninjas, he fights Silver Samurai, all because he's going after the heart of a woman he loves, who also happens to be the daughter of a Yakuza overlord. Yeah, but this got a lot into sort of developing a warrior's code for Wolverine and developing him not just as this guy who's invincible and he can win fights because no one can kill him, but also because he's a great fighter and a great warrior and a great tactician. So look forward to this. But yeah, it ran into all sorts of issues. For one, there was the massive, horrible earthquake in Japan. Of course, they're going to need to do some on-site location filming, and so that got pushed back. And then Hugh Jackman had a commitment with Les Mis, and so he couldn't do it. Then Darren Aronofsky, who was going to be directing it, which, boy, that would have been bewildering, had other commitments because of this as well. So just all these things sort of kept delaying when this film was going to get made. But it does have a screenplay. This is by Chris McQuarrie, who wrote The Usual Suspects, and some rewrites done by Mark Baumbach, who wrote Total Recall. So a couple good scripts right there. Of course, these two people may have also written some utter crap in their days. So it's kind of hard to say. But here's hoping that this new Wolverine movie that they're currently calling The Wolverine ends up being much more badass than the previous one. Okay? Fingers crossed. Getting excited. Always love to see Hugh Jackman do his Wolverine thing. So let's finish up with a really nice controller confessional. So I'm going to get kind of deep on this one, okay? You got to, strap in and get ready for me on this one. Now, DC Comics has announced with their new 52, they are going to be revealing a major, iconic male character in the DC universe is going to be homosexual. Now, this is a character that was, at least at one time, heterosexual, but they have clarified some things. This has been out there for a while, but it was, a lot of speculation. People said, oh, maybe Batman's going to be gay, or Superman's going to be gay, or, one of these major characters like that. Well, here's the thing. They've also said this is a character, while iconic, major male iconic character, has not actually been reintroduced in the new 52, okay? So Batman's out, Superman's out, Hal Jordan, Wally West, current versions of Aquaman, all of those that have been currently introduced in the new 52, it's not going to be them, okay? So put that speculation aside. Now, what I thought was really strange was I saw, it was Vibe magazine was saying that DC introduces first gay comic book character. Yet no. They're way late to the party. There have been a lot of other, some successful, some not so successful, homosexual characters in comic books. Okay, stick with DC alone, okay? You had Scandal and Knockout. Now, this was a couple that were in Secret Six, written by Gail Simone, and they were a lesbian couple. Now, for me, even though this was written by Gail Simone, I've always had an issue with lesbianism in comics because it's never come across to me as a genuine and deep and true relationship. It's always come across as just, hey, let's get two hot women doing sexual things on the page. And it's never really rang true for me. Now, this one got closer than most, but it still felt like that. Like they were doing it just to sell books and not doing it because it was an accurate and honest representation of a relationship. But nevertheless, it was there. This also takes me to another DC character, Batwoman, another lesbian. Now, this one did do a little deeper. It didn't play up the sex near so much, and it's a solo book, so it doesn't feature her in a lot of relationship stuff all the time. It really was much more about her as a character, but still not quite ringing true for a homosexual relationship with me, but there's that one. Okay, now head over to the other side of New York and the big two. With Marvel is Northstar. Now, Northstar was introduced as homosexual, I want to say probably 10 years ago or so by now. It's been quite a while, and that was a big deal. That was one of the first, especially in the mainstream too, to be revealed as a homosexual character, and for him to have to deal with coming out. They really did deal with those things when all that was occurring, and they really did a great job. But another one came out in the Ultimate Universe with the Ultimate version of Colossus was gay, and they actually played with this one for a while where they weren't sure and they were kind of hinting, and then he finally did indeed come out of the closet, and once again sort of dealing with the fallout and the aftershock of coming out of the closet and how difficult that can be. More recently, one that's gotten just a lot of excitement out of the LGBT community is Wiccan and Hulkling from the Young Avengers. I've got a couple of gay friends that are wonderful people, and they just love the crap out of this book because them as a couple, as a relationship, like they were together a really long time before they ever even kissed on the page, and they steered clear of the actual sort of sexual stuff, and it's been much more about that developing and burgeoning relationship in the book. So it's done a great job with that. Now, I am still looking forward to seeing what DC's going to do, who they're going to bring to light as this new one. Now, my personal prediction here is Shazam. Now, they've introduced Billy Batson as a backup story in Justice League, but they haven't actually had him say the words, have him have the powers. So I think maybe they're leading up to that, where they're introducing him, the boy, in the New 52, but when he actually gets the powers and becomes Shazam, they changed the name from Captain Marvel to Shazam, that will be the homosexual character. And there's some other speculation on the internet. Feel free to speculate about who that will be, but that's how I think that's going to go down. But all the politics of that aside, I think it's just important that homosexuality is real, whether you're for it, whether you're against it, support it or don't, and it is a part of our society. And so to not reflect that in fiction is dishonest. And so you really do need to show, there are a percentage of people that are gay, and so when you're creating a universe of heroes and villains and people, that's got to be factored in, or else it's false. And granted, I know this is superheroes and whatnot. It's not exactly true to life, but the characters, the people, what makes them tick, they've tried a lot in the last 20 years or so to make that genuine in every comic book you pick up. So it's an art form I love, and I love where it's going. I love that it tackles these big, deep, problematic, and current issues like this all the time. Okay, off my soapbox. We'll see you all next time.